Wake up, kids, it's Joe and Nick for your weekend vacation. Grab your stool, squat on down for crappy animation. Let the gang's dumb commentary prop open your eyelids and watch some TV shows that have aged even worse than they did. So fill your bowls, use your spoons, it's Shaturday morning cartoons.
Happy
Saturday!
Good morning, and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, your weekly excursion into the murky regions of copyright law, as we watch and discuss and mock and revere the best and worst of animation from the 60s to the 90s. I'm George, a guy with a face. I'm here with those zany madcap funsters, Joe and Nick of the Found Footage Festival. How are you guys today?
Yeah,
Wow.
we're good. Yep.
And of course, this show gains a modicum of respectability with professor, curator, comics expert, and also zany madcap funster, Caitlin McGurk of the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library and Museum at Ohio State University in Columbus. How are you today, Professor?
I'm great. I'm really great. Thanks for having me, as always.
And Professor, who is the incredible special guest who joins us today?
Yeah, I'm so excited to have JJ Sedelmaier here with us today. Someone who I've kept up with and admired for a very long time, but never gotten to officially meet until now. JJ is an animator who has had a hand in so many projects that I know Found Footage fans would be familiar with, including MTV's Beavis and Butthead, Adult Swim's Harvey Birdman, Stephen Colbert's Tech Jansen, and the impetus for us inviting him on this particular episode this morning, Saturday Night Live's TV Funhouse series, including personally designing the ambiguously gay duo. He's the president and director of JJ Sedelmaier Productions, an animation and design studio that he established with his wife, Patrice, in 1990. And in addition to cartoons for television, his studio has produced over 500 animated commercial films and won over 700 awards, which seems like very unfair, actually.
Yeah,
So
I
how
see
does that happen?
you've seen the work. Okay, I understand.
His work's been screened all over the world. He's curated exhibitions. He's taught classes at SVA and NYU, and since 2011 has been an editor and author for print magazines Imprint. And last but not least, he is the nicest person to ever simultaneously pull off looking like a cartoon supervillain with that impeccable and iconic facial hair. So thank you for being here, JJ. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of this. Be gentle with me. I have no idea what's ahead, but I'm looking forward to this. And all of you, it's great company. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Take good care of you.
I want to thank you for writing me back in, I believe it was 2020, 2021, in the depths of the pandemic, or height if you were the virus. I wrote to you because I noticed on an old VHS tape I had of Filmation's DC superheroes some stylistic similarities. Let me show you what I mean here. So the ambiguously gay duo, this looked familiar to me with this Green Lantern, which we watched on a previous episode, and
I don't see it.
and then the design of these awesome villains in this Adam cartoon. And I just wanted to know whether you also gained some inspiration from that, and you very kindly wrote to me that yes, the Filmation stuff was, among other things, inspired you.
Yes, took inspiration from all the dreadful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful opportunity to make fun of the stuff that was all we had when we were growing up. I mean, whether it was good or bad, we all knew it was bad, but it didn't matter because it was all we had.
Right.
I had given Robert Smigel. Well, first of all, the ambiguously gay duo was just supposed to be a one-off thing. We did it for the Dana Carvey show, which Robert was I think the executive producer and head writer. So we just did it as a one-off cartoon. It was done traditionally in cell. But then in the fall, that was in March of '96. Then in the fall, Robert pitched the idea of doing cartoons to Lorne at SNL I was on the Kennedy Expressway coming back from O'Hare Airport in Chicago when I got the call from him, and it was like, oh, okay, sure, this sounds great. And the Ambiguously Gay Duo was a dream come true to me, because when I left school, it was initially I was going to either do comic books or animation. And since comic books were exciting to me, and I knew New York very, very well, so I figured I'll go to New York because there's no animation in New York. I'll just go to New York for comic books. And then I found out there was animation in New York, and things kind of took off, and I got into animation, and this whole thing kind of brought me back to comic books. And Robert sent a script. I'd never laughed so hard at a script. I mean, they thought I was losing my mind in my office because my door was closed and there was just this cackling coming out of my room. And it was a dream come true, because SNL also has this lovely umbrella of indemnification that they are protected by. I couldn't do these films as an independent animator. I'd get my ass sued. It would just be, that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
But everything had to go through standards before we did the cartoons. But I think at a point, you look at stuff and you make fun of it, but there's some stuff that's just so bad, you just copy it, for what it is. You can't make it worse than that.
Right.
So it was a wonderful opportunity, a dream come true. And then for the Ambiguously Gay Duo to continue on, even go into some live action stuff, it was great.
I love that you got to use what you probably thought was worthless information from the Filmation stuff. You thought like, oh, when is my brain going to use that? You got to use it and got to capitalize on it too. I mean, like, you made a classic with that useless information.
Well, and it was so poorly animated, and that kind of fit in really well with our everything from budget to schedule. The only time the Saturday Night Live cartoons became difficult to produce was when we had to follow a graphic vocabulary, or you can't do a Schoolhouse Rock ripoff or a Disney ripoff without making it look like it. You can't half-ass it.
Right.
So that was you sweat blood when you do that kind of stuff. But this, it just was.
Do it in your sleep.
The stupider it was, the better it was.
Yeah.
And it was funny because even the people from generations after me got a kick out of it. It's almost like, wow, things are really that bad.
And have you watched any of these old Filmation cartoons that time?
I've seen, I don't stick it out all the way through because it's really like, why am I doing this? But
we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We ask ourselves that question all the time doing
every week.
Yeah. Exactly.
Previously, we watched the Flash and Green Lantern segments from the cartoon. This was 1967's Superman, Aquaman, Hour of Adventure. And today we're going to be watching the team segments, Justice League and the Teen Titans. But first, as we always do, does anyone have a cool mug or cereal they'd like to show us?
Yeah, I'll go first. This is a long walk, actually. Okay, so on VCR Party, I played that Bigfoot video where it's these amateur Bigfoot hunters went out and they brought their camcorders. They made this homemade documentary about Bigfoot, and they used flowery language when they were describing Bigfoot, and they would talk about when he would take a step, they said the crunch of the footfall of Bigfoot. Did you hear the crunch of the footfall from Bigfoot when they'd interview people? And then we were doing a show recently in Arlington, and Farmer Dan showed up, and he made crunch of the footfall cereal.
Amazing. What?
Awesome.
Yeah. It looks real. I mean, I think let's just say it's real. Yeah.
Sure.
But he designed this character and everything?
Yeah, he designed the character.
Little mini Bigfoot. Yeah.
Crunch
That's
of the
incredible.
football. What does that say? It's backwards to me.
Provides all the niacin a growing entity needs.
Yeah,
Right.
they always call them entities.
Yeah.
You guys are the best fans.
I
That is
know.
truly
They're
incredible.
ridiculous. They're absolutely ridiculous.
I want to pitch a cereal that's fake that I mocked up, but I want to pitch this to both Quaker and HBO. This is Oops All Berries. This is Bill Hader's popular Hitman series. So the guy at the factory messed up, and instead of doing all crunch berries, he did all berries, Barry Berkman. So you have various different seasons of berry all in one bowl. So
Wow.
that's my pitch. HBO, Quaker. I'll just take 10%.
They have a dingleberry flavor too, right?
I'm sure that's yeah. Also has all the niacin you need. Dingleberry. Yeah. Yep.
I
It's all
went with
dingleberries.
I went with this Captain Crunch birthday crunch. I guess Captain Crunch is 60 years old, and it tastes
He
like
looks great.
cake. I think he looks great, and also again the mustache in honor of JJ's mustache. So yeah, that's my theme.
Yeah.
Well, I had a cereal. Oops, all Barry Lyndon's. But,
Don't give me any ideas, George.
sorry, I've got a mug that it's weird. It's a 2-level mug. The outer level is the Senate subcommittee on comic books from 1954. But if you peel it off, underneath there is
A double level mug.
yes,
Cool.
this is the ex-president's mug.
Ooh.
Where'd that come from?
Well, my printer. I just yeah.
Oh boy, I want
Always
one.
trying to appeal to the guest.
I was actually Caitlin. You and I have something in common. Do you know what we have in common? Because I have quiz.
Yes,
I love Quest.
amazing.
You know what we have in common?
What?
Well, these are both Jay Ward characters.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, Captain Crunch is a
the
Jay
book.
Ward.
Jay,
Yep.
I mean, there's no trace of Jay Ward left in Captain Crunch.
Right.
In Quisp, yeah. And actually,
Yes.
this is a terrific box. You know, it's very simple. I was
love
very
that
surprised.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
If it ain't
Yeah.
broke, yeah.
They were very funny commercials too. They were really well done. And the box is illustrated on the back. It almost looks like Jesse Oliver or
Ooh.
Ren and Stimpy ish in its design.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It has
That's
that
awesome.
Funko kind of style. Cool.
And I have a Terry Toons mug,
Ooh.
Yes.
which is not from the studio, but there was a short-lived store in Chicago on Michigan Avenue that was Viacom based. And it was only around for a couple of years, but I grabbed this Terry Toons mug, which the logo designed by Gene Deitch.
Oh, yes.
And,
R.I.P.
Yep, no kidding. So,
Oh, genius.
and my Superman cereal spoon. That is
From what era?
Can you hold that up closer? I want to see it.
supposedly it's TV show time
Huh.
from
50s?
the late 50s, mid 50s.
Oh,
It's
wow.
beautiful.
Wow.
You win breakfast, JJ. You
Yep.
win
Yeah.
breakfast.
You know, I haven't had breakfast cereal in years. This stuff's good.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
Candy.
Yeah.
Candy in a
Right.
bowl.
No sugar, right?
Ah, you're fine.
All right. Well, let's get started by watching a promo and a bumper for the Superman Aquaman Hour of Adventure.
Superman joins Aquaman to bring you 60 minutes of super adventure. Special guest stars, secret messages. It's the Superman Aquaman Hour of
What
Adventure.
didn't look that secret? It was flashing.
The
love
secret
that.
message just says secret message.
Yeah,
Right. But the saxophone, this theme is amazing.
That's what I was going to comment on. That sax is just wailing.
And this is halfway through the episode after they got through Superman or Aquaman. This is what kids would see.
Now, part 2 of the Superman Aquaman Hour of Adventure. Starring one of
Seizure
his great
inducing.
superheroes in an exciting action-packed adventure of his own.
They are superheroes, the Justice League of America.
What I like about that is that they just say, starring one of these individuals. You know, it's something they can reuse
Right.
until the end of time. So there's a thing that I do that, on each episode, which is to go through the history. It's too much, I think, right? Wouldn't you say that
I love it.
Okay.
personally.
Well, what part, what aspect of the history do you
well,
go through?
this one I'm just going to go through the history of Justice League and just super teams. And the last one I went from the dawn of comics to this
Man's
goofy,
invention
Yeah,
of drawing.
I don't.
right.
We
I
probably
had
don't
from
need to do that one.
the
yeah.
cave paintings at Lascaux,
Yeah. Skip over that stuff.
50,000 BC,
Direct line to
all the way up to me in
Yeah.
junior high collecting comics. The 67 cartoon can be traced to the first superhero team, the Justice Society. From All-Star Comics #3 in the early 40s, it featured the Golden Age versions of, well, you can see them, the Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, the Atom. Batman, Superman were just honorary members because they had their own titles. And as each character got their own title, they would leave. So the Flash got their own title, his own title, and left.
I'm
And,
so glad they
mean-
ditched the helmet on the Flash. That
It's the
didn't make any
silliest
sense.
helmet ever.
It's so
That is
It's the
stupid. It looks
Pan
like
helmet.
silly.
It's Pan.
It's gonna
It's-
Mercury, yeah, Mercury.
Yeah.
And
It's gonna fall off.
I don't know. We're going back to ancient myths here, but Wonder Woman joins. Wonder Woman joins, I think, in like a few issues later, but she is relegated to be their secretary. She doesn't actually go on any of the adventures. There are several issues where she said, "Good luck, boys. I wish I could be going with you." She's easily the most powerful. Maybe Dr. Fate is more powerful, but
She's taking minutes for the team here.
where do I go, Hawkman? Remain right here, Wonder Woman.
Oof.
and try to tell me how my mask works. Yeah.
It's a bird on his upper part of his face.
Why do I need this
Right.
beak?
And they broke her spirit here. Unfortunately, as secretary and honorary member, I'll have to remain behind. Like, she wants to go. You she could kick ass, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
why
happen.
is she even in a?
By the end, does
Uniform,
she get to
then.
go? By the end of this
Yes.
issue, does she get to go? Okay, good.
I think so. Well, superheroes sort of fell out of vogue as horror comics became popular, but then as horror comics were not quite banned, but effectively banned, they were rebooting comics for the Silver Age. Remember from the previous episode, 1955. Is this going to be? Yes, there it is.
Nice. Yep.
That's The Seduction of the Innocent, the popular book by Frederick Wortham that got comics under a spotlight. Perhaps it was all the decapitation in EC. Who knows? But when they rebooted The Flash, they ultimately decided to reboot the Justice Society, but gave it the new name, the Justice League of America, in 1960. And so in 1967, when Filmation was going to make their superhero cartoon, they couldn't use Batman because ABC had rights for a cartoon, at least at the time. So if you were to look in a comic book in the back, you would see, well, you could watch Batman, Robin, Batgirl live, or you could watch the cartoon team without them. So you have Aquaman, the Flash, Superman.
It all looks like they're trying to fit in the frame. It's like, okay, guys, it's not going to be 6 feet. We only got 5'11", so.
Well, this was the scoliosis episode.
Exactly.
But weirdly, Aquaman was not even in the cartoon of the Justice League, so he only appears in the opening credits as a member of the Justice League.
The drawing is just so inconsistent. I mean, look at that S and look at that. Oh my
Pretty
God.
painful.
Yeah, the Flash does not look, I don't know, human.
Yeah.
I think they were always in a hurry.
Yeah.
Everybody's off model.
And so most of the actors were very well known as TV actors of their day, but the only voice actors we would know probably are Pat Harrington,
Schneider.
Schneider as the Atom.
Release the Schneider cut.
Yes. And Ted Knight
Knight.
as the narrator. And the interesting story was that the guy who did the voice of Superman was also the voice of the radio show Superman.
Bud Collier.
Yes, and he didn't want to do as many episodes as they had scheduled him for. So to explain his absence, the writers came up with the concept of kryptonite. So whenever he wasn't available, they would say, well, Superman I think he was locked in a basement, trapped by kryptonite. And then
That's where kryptonite came from?
Yes, as a guy trying to get out
basement.
doing works, which I can get behind.
He was the host of To Tell the Truth, so he was working, and they made a big deal about because this is all spinning off of the Superman show that initially kind of triggered all this other stuff that came later. But it was a big deal because the people who grew up and now had kids watching the stuff, they could identify with the fact that they were hearing the same voice that was doing the radio show.
Oh.
And Ted Knight was great. We got Bill Schott to imitate that voice. He did a great job. He was really, really terrific.
Wait, which one was Bill Schott? Bill Schott did.
Bill Schott did the introduction of the cartoon and also the ex-presidents. The ex-presidents.
Yes,
it was amazing.
Yes.
It was the best Ted Knight impersonation. And
Ted Knight was like a typical parody of that announcer stuff, and back then it wasn't a parody yet, but I mean it's so over the top.
Right.
Yeah. And so there were only 3 episodes of that Justice League cartoon, and it spawned the Super Friends, which became much more popular.
There's Cincinnati Union Terminal.
Right, was the inspiration for the Hall of Justice.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
And Justice League was rebooted several times. This was an attempt in 1997 to make a live-action show. You can watch this on YouTube. Not very spectacular.
Wow. Is that a jean jacket with the sleeveless jean jacket?
Bad cosplay.
Yeah. And then an incredible cartoon. I don't know if you're familiar with Justice League Unlimited. This was followed, of course, by something recently. I don't know if you've heard of this. But it's had its ups and downs, but it inspired a sidekicks team. Brave and the Bold 54 featured Kid Flash, Aqualad, and Robin. I think Joe, Nick, you guys hate the name Aqualad, is that right?
I do.
Love and hate.
Caitlin, sorry.
It sounds like a salve. I think it's something you put on a rash.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Apply a thin coat of Aqualad.
It's like Neosporin. Yeah.
But they got the name the Teen Titans in their next appearance. And let's see. So they could not use Robin because Robin was, of course, in the live action show. So they got Kid Flash, Aqualad, Wonder Girl, who was invented just for the team, and Speedy, which was Green Arrow's sidekick, who is best known in comics as being the first superhero with a heroin addiction. 1971.
No way.
Yes.
That was this series that Neil Adams did was what kind of reawakened the whole comic geek in me when I was in school. I went to the University of Wisconsin. They were so well written, and no one draws like Neil Adams. And it was they were desperately trying to address all of the stuff that Marvel was doing with the psychological stuff that was going on, and it was such a departure from anything that DC had ever done. It was so great.
This cover is incredible.
Also, just as an aside, other Wisconsin individuals here are Joe and Nick. They want to.
Our ears perked up when you said Wisconsin.
Madison, Madison natives.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We went to UW Eau Claire. Yeah.
There was a guy who had a comic shop on Monroe in Madison. Bruce, I can't remember his last name, but Capital City Comics.
Yeah.
I really filled out my collection there. I think he might even still be there. He was there about 10 years ago.
It rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, that store is still there. At least last time I was home.
The Teen Titans has been rebooted a few times, and now it exists in kiddie form and in very serious adult form. But we're going to start with Justice League episode called Bad Day on Black Mountain, which I assume is a reference to Bad Day at Black Rock, the 1955 film that I'm sure 9-year-olds at the time were extremely familiar with.
It's a great movie.
All right. Well, enough of my exposition. Here we go.
The Justice League of America, the combined might
The slouching league of
steel, and the Cosmic Crusader, the Winged Avenger, and the King of the Sea, the Tiny Titan, and the Scarlet Streak, all working together for good against evil as the Justice League of America.
Superman explode?
Yes. It's not canon.
In his office at the Daily Planet, Clark Kent receives a startling telephone call.
Clark Kent,
know you are Superman.
Who is this?
Meet me at the top of Black Mountain immediately.
No, I'm not.
Or I will expose you to the world.
In swift succession, 4 other members of the Justice League receive similar telephone threats. Interplanetary space scientist Carter Hall, alias Hawkman. Police lab technician Barry Allen, alias...
They just blink their eyes. That's the only animation. Their eyes just blink. That's it.
No. I love
Otherwise,
that
it's
the
a
typewriter,
painting.
the
One
typewriter
frame.
sounds and his
It's not
hands are
even a
just like
shift,
this.
you know?
Yeah.
There's not even a shift. It just eye blink. One drawing.
Did you employ that style on Ambiguously Gay Duo and Ex-Presidents? And
We employed much of that, yes,
Yeah.
and the Tech Jansen stuff too. We did the same thing. I mean, you can learn a lot about limited animation with anime, and that's what
Oh,
we were
right.
kind of emulating.
Mhm.
You know, you hold the body, and then you just put a lot of action lines, flying, which is what
Right,
was going on
swooshy.
with Flash,
Yeah. Let the sound effects do the rest.
Yeah,
exactly,
they do it cheaply.
or not.
Atomic science professor Ray Palmer, alias the Atom.
Oh, he didn't blink. He looked. Wow.
pupils moved.
Whoa.
That was because they were sure that kids were going to notice the trend and start making fun of it.
Yeah.
So,
Hal
They were
Jordan,
right.
alias Green Lantern. Within minutes, 5 colorfully costumed Justice Leaguers convene on top of Black Mountain.
Colorfully costumed.
Anybody know who's the Joker who knows our secret identities?
Beats me.
Me too. Likewise. There's your answer.
It also beats me.
I am also beat.
And I have lured you superheroes from your posts so that you will not interfere with my master plot
Blink.
to take over your planet.
Just
A
pop
plot
them.
which is now in operation. Look. Earth's largest rocket at Cape Grand is at this moment being subjected to my
I'm laying out my
conversion
plan
beams,
in
which will
detail.
explode it and the entire
Probably isn't a
rocket
good
base.
idea, but
Great galaxy.
I
Now,
laugh every time I
see
see
the
them.
water surrounding the city of Metropolis burst into flame, which will destroy it.
Is it Cleveland?
Yeah.
Missiles, each speeding to a pre-programmed Earth target. If you try to stop those
that's
attacks, members of the Justice League, you will be destroyed.
That's what you think, Mastermind.
We probably shouldn't do it, guys.
Right. Yeah. Here's exactly what I'm going to do. Here's what I don't want you to
That's
do.
one. With 4 to go.
I'll take care
Spoiled
of the missiles.
himself.
Adam and I go for the rocket base.
I'll put out the fire. Then we'll find Superman together.
Wonder Woman will take notes.
I want to see Hawkman like eating a dead squirrel or something.
And you hate Hawkman, is that right?
I mean, I love him every time he's on screen. I think it might be a love to hate kind of a thing.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
Caitlin, you also are not a fan of Hawkman, if I recall correctly.
I'm not a fan of any like bird-based superheroes. I just think it's kind of lame. Like I just wouldn't want to be the bird person. But I also, I don't like the Flash's tin hat. I also was just thinking, like, if you got to be a superhero, but you had to be the little guy on the
Mhm.
shoulder,
I
would
know.
you still
Adam.
choose to be a superhero? Or
Yeah.
I think that's me on this show. I'm
Aw.
You're the
I
Adam of
usually
our-
stand on Joe's shoulder and
Yeah.
Let's follow the reflection. Let's follow the reflection on that globe.
Oh,
I think the reflection
okay.
inconsistently moves around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Do a frame by frame here.
Yeah, they didn't have a continuity guy.
No, I don't think so.
You are on an uncharted asteroid, Superman, where I have spent years perfecting my master plot.
You wasted your time.
I think not, Superman.
Trapdoor for a guy who
classic.
flies.
Kryptonite.
Classic trapdoor.
Within hours, the concentrated intensity of the kryptonite radiation will rob you of all your superpowers completely and forever.
Strength.
Wait,
going.
can you pause?
Yeah.
JJ, is there like an attempt to actually match up the words with the mouth that's moving, or is there no attempt at all?
Well, I think that the big part is it's just ridiculous. Their mouth is moving when they're not talking, but it's not moving when they're talking. But I think this was at the heart of kids don't know the difference. They don't care.
Okay.
So you just got to kind of go with it.
Screw our audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you were a kid watching these, like, did you actually find these compelling, or did you say you knew it was
Compelling.
bad even
No,
then?
no, we knew it was bad, but it was still fun to watch because it was a cartoon, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all, again, it's all you had. And it
Right.
wasn't, I never saw the Fleischer Superman cartoons
Right.
until after high school.
Those
And
are amazing. Yeah.
they're what, man, that got me into animation. That's it. Ooh, I
Really?
want to do that. Yeah. And the first one I saw was just in black and white, but oh my God, so well done.
Right. Yeah.
Still the gold standard, I'd say. I don't.
I would say too.
And nothing we'll watch on this show.
Yeah.
Rest assured.
Never. Never.
Here it is, and away we go.
I like some of the
Jackie
backgrounds
Gleason,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, there.
I do-
You've
That's
mentioned
Jackie Gleason's line.
And away we
and
go.
away we go.
Away we
Yeah.
go, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think some of the backgrounds are kind of nice.
Cool
right?
swamp.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they were probably used 10,000 times in the other cartoons as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And away we go. Holy cow, I'm stuck. Quicksilver, quicksand, don't move. Brace me at that machine before the rocket base goes up. Hurry.
That arm.
Slow pitch softball or fast pitch softball?
Free. Now, gotta get the atom out of there. Let's go, Mighty Mike.
What's happening?
Shall pay with your lives for this.
At this moment,
Just blows
Hawkman
everybody
and
up.
his swift hawk ship intercept
Hawkman and the Hawk ship.
guided missiles.
Oh.
That's that. Now to see how Green Lantern's doing.
That's his wife.
Only one way to put out that fire. An explosion to create a vacuum. But first I must shield the city from the shock waves.
I'll save you, Cleveland.
Hawkman, just in time to help. Come on, Hawkman, hit the fire zone with the biggest blasts in your arsenal.
Big blasts coming up.
Wait, what? Can we do that again, please?
Wait,
Yeah,
back it up.
I have that in my erotic montage of these
I was
that I'll
gonna
show at the
say.
end.
Blasts coming up. Okay.
Big blast
Blasts in your arsenal.
Big blasts coming up.
Fire's out. Now we've got to find Superman.
My Radiotron has located him on a small
He has
asteroid.
a beak, but also
Let's
arms.
go.
Superman is a goner. Flash and the Atom are trapped.
Pick a lane, Hawkman.
And here come the other two. Now I can take off and enjoy their destruction from a safe distance.
I like that he's not able to, like, he clearly has no ability to move his neck whatsoever.
It's the costume he's wearing.
How did you two get here?
We were teleported. Same as Superman.
Where's he?
My radar vision shows him under this floor, in a room filled with kryptonite.
We've got to get him out, fast.
Yes, and when you lift the trap door,
It's a
you
cool
will
ship.
trip a booby trap
That
that
is a
will
cool
create a
ship.
galactic cataclysm.
Stand away. I'll hit it with my power beam.
Stand away from that differently
Yeah,
colored
right.
panel on the
Oh,
floor.
I like that shot. I like that shot of Green Lantern.
Which
Go
one? Let's see
back.
it.
Okay.
If that was a billboard, you could definitely
Yeah.
draw something in there.
I've got
Yeah.
things under control, if you know what I mean.
No, don't! My radar vision shows a detonating device attached to the trap door. What can we do? Leave it to me!
There's so much going on right now.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
7-minute episode.
They don't skimp on the action. I'll give them that.
There! All clear! Fire away, GL!
He should have a higher pitched voice, I think.
Come on, let's get him out of there! You've not defeated me yet, Justice League! If I...
I'm going to go cross-country skiing. That's what I'm going to do.
He's getting away very slowly.
You can't get me.
They'll destroy it!
From his spaceship, Mastermind sets the asteroid itself in motion into a direct collision course with Earth.
Hop aboard the
Smart.
Hawk ship, fellas, and blast off.
I'll take care of the asteroid and Mastermind. Up, up, and away!
That's from the radio show too.
Up, up, and away.
So you
Yeah.
knew he was flying, he would say that.
I guess you have to explain to kids or whoever's listening.
Yeah.
Like, I'm about to fly.
Right.
Think about all of the career animators who'd been working for 30 years, and now this is where they were, where they were ending up. That had to be rough.
Fantasia
do you
to
think they
this.
hated it? Do you think they really hated it? Like,
I don't think they hated it. I think they were glad to have a job, but I think that it was like, well, this is what animation has turned into now. Saturday morning stuff. It just, really, really, really rough.
Was there anyone notable that was working on these, JJ?
I would have to look at the credits again. With a little searching, I could find out. But they had to be using career people who had been working at every place from Disney to Warner's and so forth, because it was a West Coast production.
I think
okay.
I don't know if it was on these or the later episodes that Alex Toth, if that's how it's pronounced, was
He designed them.
right.
And he designed Space Ghost. He designed a lot of the Hanna-Barbera.
Okay, so that was the next
characters.
iteration.
And it was great because his stuff was simple and graphic, but once it went into animation, it lost most of its Tothness. It was beautiful designs, though.
By the way, what happens next is why I picked this episode.
Shoot! The Man of Steel crashes into the asteroid and deflects its course away from Earth.
It's heading right for me! No!
another cool
That
ship.
does it, Justice Leaguers. Now, back to Earth. Away!
Easy enough.
There was also a 50% exposure on the flight. You could see through the airplane on the.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, I thought that was the special power of the ship. I just assumed that. I
Like
guess
a
I
Wonder
didn't.
Woman invisible.
Yeah,
The
like
Hawk
a Wonder
ship.
Woman kind
That's
of.
what you got to say. That's what you got to say. Absolutely.
Sure.
But I believe Superman murdered somebody. Is that how that ended? Are we in agreement that?
Oh.
I don't know. I would have to think about that a little bit. I'm thinking, kids.
Well, first of all, let me ask, what did you think of that so far?
I love watching these old DC ones. They're really fun.
I do too.
I forgot to breathe during it because it was just like nonstop action. It was just like, and I was just trying to I was taking notes feverishly, trying to figure out what was going on. I wasn't actually trying to do that.
No.
I can't remember. Have you guys done the Marvel ones that were done in New York? The Marvel superheroes?
Not yet. The ones where they were just cutting and pasting the Kirby.
Oh my, yeah, they would just move still drawings across the screen.
Yeah.
Ooh, we have to do that.
I feel
Yeah.
like Marvel shuts it down though.
Yeah,
If
we
you
can only
put
we can only
anything-
we can only do what doesn't get pulled from YouTube. So
They don't give a shit
Oh,
about
I see.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say though, I really appreciate JJ what you mentioned about the radio show stuff, because I somehow have never made that connection with these, because I love how they sound so much, and it's never occurred to me that that's kind of what this was the stepping off point from.
The radio
So-
shows, which you can get on CD, are interesting. And my benefit to all this is I grew up reading my dad's comics, and he still has his comics.
What?
And
Really?
yeah, he was one of the kids who had a mother who didn't throw him away and kept him wrapped in. He used to get in fights when they bend the covers back, so they're all Mile High comics. They're just
What?
beautiful.
Those are rare moms.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
They're
very
rarer
much
than the
so.
comics, I think.
So I was only one of my friends who knew who the hell Captain Marvel was. No one knew
Right.
who Captain Marvel was, and he later became Shazam because of copyright stuff. But oh my God, the comics there was a set group of comics that were just so cool that were done back then, and they had a lot of edge. But the radio shows were pretty cool because if you have the patience, it sets up an entirely different environment to feel stuff and so forth.
But yeah, and you can do things like say, wow, can you believe the way that galaxy looks? I wish I could describe it, over the radio. That's the scariest thing I've ever seen. But I'm glad you brought up your father, JJ, because I happened to observe his place in.
Well, you were stalking outside the backyard. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
So how would Joe and Nick? What work of his would Joe and Nick know?
I know.
Where's the beef?
Yes.
Oh,
The Federal Express Fast Talker.
Yeah,
Yes!
that's Nick's hero. Is
the Micro
John
Machines
Machida.
guy.
That's
yeah.
JJ's dad
Yes.
that created those.
So you
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
whoa, cool.
Yeah, he's he's going to be 90 at the end of the month, and he's all there.
We gotta get him on the show.
Look, my grandmother lived in Columbus. If Billy
know that.
Ireland had been there when I was growing up, we would have been there every day.
Mm.
You know, and I've been trying to get him to go there because he would just absolutely love it. I mean, he wanted to be a cartoonist before he wanted to be a filmmaker. So he knows. We have great conversations. It's like having a big brother as opposed to, a dad. It's really
That's so lovely. That's so rare and wonderful. I'd love to get to meet him someday if he can ever, make it out here. So
I mean, and he's a legend too for the Where's the Beef alone. I mean,
his whole thing was to cast people that didn't look like they were actors, just cast regular people. And he changed the face of advertising by doing that. It really, a very special upbringing I had, exposed to all this stuff.
This is the coolest episode because it ties everything together.
It does.
I mean, it does. It brings a lot.
Comics,
Yeah.
cartoons. Oh, okay. So here are the next commercial break will be superhero PSAs that are also weird. Saturday morning cartoons will be right back.
Hello, boys and girls. I have a special message for you from the President of the United States. Let me read it to you. I salute the boys and girls who are buying United States savings stamps and bonds through the Treasury's School Savings Program. They're learning the lessons of practical citizenship and of wise money management. And they're giving important support to the cause of freedom and the men who fight for us in Vietnam. That message is on this wallet-size U.S. Savings Bonds pledge card, which you'll get in school as soon as you begin to buy U.S. savings stamps. Let's get started today. What do you say?
No.
no thanks.
I can't believe Batman's shilling for LBJ.
Why was his logo, or why was the bat a plastic disc? It always bugged the hell out of me.
That was the only question I had about Batman in '66.
That it wasn't on the uniform itself, JJ? Is that what you're saying?
It was stuck on the uniform. It was a plastic, shiny disc.
Huh.
So let me show you something here.
Oh yeah, sure.
To show you kind of like the relationship my dad and I had. That's him and me.
What?
Oh man.
And he made the costume.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I love it.
Yeah, really.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and my parents were divorced, so I only saw him on the weekends. So the time we had was really choice time. Really, really terrific.
And he was, being a huge comics fan himself, was fully encouraging of everything that you wanted to do.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, what are you doing? Math homework? Oh, geez, good luck. It was great. And one of the thrills I had later on when I did C2E2 in Chicago, the comic convention.
Yeah,
I was on a panel with Neil Adams, and my dad came to visit. And Neil turned into this giddy little kid talking to my dad.
Really?
He was thrilled to talk to my dad. And I'd never seen Neil like that before. And it was just just so great.
That's so awesome.
Cool, it's dad.
Well, these are going to be some off-model superheroes in the rest of these PSAs. Just to warn you.
For the Air Force, Dick Williams. I know what it's like to manage a championship team. The excitement and satisfaction of seeing a team of superstars perform. It must be the same way for the people who manage the Air Force. Pilots, navigators, mechanics, technicians, all working together on a team with a common goal. You can be part of that team. The Air Force will train you in one of over 100 skills.
I've
Training
seen
that
the
can count towards
superhero.
college credit. In skills that will be useful to you in or out of the service. Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you qualify to be an officer or an airman, the Air Force probably has a super job for you. What's eating you, Superman?
Well, they won't let me play with them.
Why not?
You see, I'm too good.
I know how you feel. Why don't you try the Air Force?
Will they let me play the outfield?
Well, ask your nearest Air Force recruiter.
I will. I'll do it. How about you coming along? You could use a job, too.
For the location of your nearest Air Force recruiter,
Who's
call
Dick Williams?
toll-free 800
Baseball player?
447
Is he a manager? Or
I have no idea. And
Bit of a bloated Superman.
the guy who's playing Superman there kind of looks like Bob Holliday, who was in the Broadway production.
Oh, huh.
Has a lot of water weight he's retaining, though.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, Dick Williams is an American left fielder. Okay, so he's a baseball player.
Okay.
Huh.
Got it.
But I don't think he was that good, was he? I don't know. Like I
Never
I
heard
know
him. I
baseball.
don't
Yeah,
remember him.
yeah, he's a Dodger. He was on the Dodgers. He's on the Red Sox. Yeah, I don't know. I missed him. He's
I'm
on every
just
single
I'm just
baseball
calling.
team.
I'm just calling the Air Force now. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, yeah. You were inspired.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
all right.
Safety is important in any swimming area.
What happened?
Breathe in a little water. I'll show
Guys,
you
I'm
how
trying to do a PSA
Put
here.
him in a sitting position.
Go ahead.
And get his head below his knees.
Taking
That
his
helps
sweet
him
time.
cough out the water he breathed in.
This will make him so
Glad you were
ashamed
there.
he'll come back to
Yes.
life.
Thanks, Aquaman.
Glad to be of help. But remember, only fish breathe underwater.
Unless you happen to be Aquaman. All right, no homework
Don't condescend
today.
us,
Let's keep
Aquaman.
things fun.
I don't think there's any diving allowed in that pool.
No.
Now they're clearly this is a commercial studio, and you got a lot more animation than you ever would have seen in the Saturday morning cartoon.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, that shot, we've seen more animation
Yeah.
than the
Yeah.
half hour.
More than just eyeballs moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you looking for fun, huh? Want to smoke some weed?
Shadows.
Better not. Superman! Wonder Woman!
Don't worry.
We wanted to smoke some weed.
We'll go
Oh,
somewhere
God.
that's really fun.
I could take it to secretarial school.
Great!
Now you can have fun.
Discover the club that beats the
Remember,
streets.
don't
local
bogart your
Boys and
friend's
Girls Club.
joint.
Come on, kids. If you want to grow up fast, take one of these.
This is terrific. This might be this might be Richard Williams.
It is.
Oh,
It is.
Okay,
really?
good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the He's the man.
Look at that
Yeah.
perspective.
Oh, and the
Incredible.
animation is so fluid.
Mhm.
And Richard Williams really is never given the due that he deserves in terms of transforming the animation industry into what it's now become in terms of, because when all these cartoons that we're making fun of were being done and everyone was like, no one cares. He was doing this great stuff in London. And it was slowly getting over to the advertising agencies, and they were seeing this stuff and going, well, why can't we do animation like that? And that's why you got stuff like this.
Yeah. It's
What year is that? Is that 90s or
I
is
think
that
this is 80, I think.
It really took place in the mid to late 70s through the early 80s.
Okay.
And that's when all the advertising agency were saying to the commercial studios that were doing doing limited animation, we want to do this, and they would like, nah, you don't have to do that. And Richard Williams is just knocking it out of the park each and every day.
Yeah, and it only gets better.
Yes.
One puff and they'll soon be in my grasp.
Not so fast, nicotine. If you want to go up fast, take one of these.
All the
murder.
like, follow through.
Yeah.
It never stops animating.
Right.
I never say yes to a cigarette.
Now back to Saturday morning cartoons.
And most of that was on ones. Normally, animation is, for the most part, at most done on twos, meaning you photograph one drawing or one shot for 2 frames.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff we're making fun of was probably on 12s.
Yeah.
So Richard Williams, nothing stopped. It just was always moving and follow through, and it was fluid and it was exciting.
So when you say 12s, it's like there are 12 different things on there. And
no, it means in you got 24 frames in a second.
Oh,
so you
I
have
got you.
2 drawings on 12. You'd have 2 drawings in a second, whereas opposed with Richard Williams, you'd have 24 different drawings in a second.
Yeah.
Right,
It'd be
right.
Very fluid and very.
Which is like how most of the Disney is 24, right? But things like Saturday morning and a lot of anime and stuff is usually.
Yeah, at least anime has this thing going on that it holds its integrity. They use much more dynamic shots and angles, and they go into more detail in moving the backgrounds and the effects, so you think you're seeing more than you actually are.
Yeah.
There's going to be a quiz in a half an hour. So
Okay, this is good. This is learning a lot.
Taking notes.
You're talking to us about this stuff.
All right, well, here's part 2. This is Teen Titans.
So is this a new story, or is this
Yes.
Okay, all right.
They're looking for the corpse of Mastermind from the previous.
Okay, I was like,
Superman
I thought he
blew him up.
Yeah.
Here come the Teen Titans, a quartet of towering talents. Kid Flash, whose speed defies the eye to follow. Wonder Girl, swift and powerful super lass. Speedy, whose fantastic arrows perform awesome feats. Aqualad, bold and daring
There he
marine
is.
marvel.
Aqualad, my
Force 'em for
friend.
Right against might, the Teen Titans.
This is what this sequence is what we use for the ex-presidents.
Oh,
right.
As inspiration in the Shield, and describing each superpower and the explosions coming.
Right.
In. It's funny on the Kid Flash. The explosion comes off his chin for some reason. Very, very weird.
He's a teen. Maybe it was
Can we see it?
acne.
Yeah.
Let's see.
if it's acne.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, it's a pimple that exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
teen.
it's
He'll
great.
soon have hair on his lower extremity.
I mean, it's a strong chin.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time. Things were different.
And the ex-presidents were Gerald Ford, Reagan, Jimmy Carter,
Carter, Carter, Reagan, Ford, and
George Bush, the first one.
HW.
First Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they brought back a Nixon from beyond.
Yes, they brought back Nixon and Checkers, his
Right.
super dog Checkers, and Clinton, because he was president, was in a few of the episodes, but he wasn't obviously an ex-president.
I'm gonna rewatch those.
It is a quiet morning when an awesome creature rears up out of the sea and strides up onto the deserted beach.
With a bow tie.
I miss this use of awesome.
Yeah.
George Cashdan.
Who's that?
He's evidently the guy who I guess wrote them all or something. I don't think he was
okay.
director.
He did some of them. Bob Haney, who was I think known for his zany plots. Zany Haney was what they
Zany
called him
Haney,
at DC.
yeah.
That's a great nickname.
Yeah. I love how formal this guy is, though. I just
Yeah.
Met
He's on his way
Gala.
to a ball.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
In moments, news of the Weird Raider reaches the secret mountain headquarters of the mighty Teen Titans.
Speedy to Titans. Come in, Teen Titans.
Aqualad here.
Wonder Girl here.
Kid Flash here. What's up, Speedio?
I'm on the toilet. Leave me
Riding
alone.
Sector Super Charlie Baker beats him a deep double.
Be there
It's like
in
the
a
original
flash.
Zoom call here.
Yeah.
A short while later, from land, sea, and air, the famed teenage fighters join forces.
Come on, team. We gotta stop this thing. Slow down, you overgrown, wind-up toy.
Whoa, boy! Whoa!
What do we have to do to stop this thing? Maybe
Yeah, not a lot of movement going on here. Look how he's vibrating.
So much can be accomplished by just
What do we
shaking
do
him
now?
that
Yeah,
way.
moving cell.
No, we've got to find out where it comes from.
Okay.
I love his
it's in
lack
my
of
element
eyeballs.
Now, let me handle it.
Check. We'll follow in the copter.
Beautiful background.
The underwater now? Okay.
Oh, there's that crazy machine.
Yeah, but where's Aqualad?
Thanks, Leggy. Gotta go follow that mechanical monster.
Thanks, Leggy.
Is that his girlfriend?
Like he saved him off screen, I guess.
Leaping lionfish. He got me again.
Merciful Venus, look.
Hey, Aqualad's in trouble.
They're heavy on the
Come on,
catchphrases.
put this egg beater down, fast.
Let go of me, you big lug. Let go.
Do you think this boomerang arrow will work, Speedy?
Just hang on to your lariat.
The bow sound for me.
This is where I go to work.
His hair, we've talked about this, but his hair is outside of his cowl.
Nice work, team. Now, let's go see who controls this thing.
Now.
Now, tick tock, tick
Holy
tock.
haddocks!
Wait
This
for
thing
it.
is a giant spaceship.
But
Holy haddocks must my favorite
pretty
catchphrase
good.
so far.
Yep.
I like these two shots of
Mm-hmm.
foreground, background. Only one needs to move very slightly.
I love that background too. They really got
Keep it
creative
all.
with that. Yeah.
From
And dig that crazy computer.
Dig that crazy computer.
Stop. Stay where you are.
Suffering Sappho. It talks.
All right.
No,
Enough with the
that's
catchphrases.
Let's have a good look at it.
Calamitous catchphrase.
Stay where you are.
Pay no attention to that man behind the counter.
Yeah. The Wizard of Oz.
Now you shall be destroyed.
Siri, no.
look, it means business.
Scatter, Titans.
Look, they predicted AI right here.
Come and get me, fellas.
Yeah, I love the head turn.
I guess the only indication
There's
that
those explosions they use over and over. And
yeah,
over.
Yeah.
The but the only indication that they're teens is that they use sort of hipper lingo maybe than the older ones.
They all sound like Shaggy.
Like
essentially.
dig that crazy computer. Maybe that's more of a teen phrase at the time.
And they have like the bouffant or the hair that goes up. I think
Okay.
that's.
Oh,
that's
do you mean a
style.
quiff?
A quiff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much
That's a-
discussed quip.
I had a
Yeah.
quiff.
Yeah.
Oops a daisy.
Great guppies! When the two robots exploded, the computer started speeding up like crazy.
Must be the answer.
What happened to his arrows?
That's
Didn't he have the thing on his back before?
Yeah,
Well, he's-
quiver.
The scene before? What the
Oh,
hell's going
yeah.
on
it's like they're not even trying.
there? Oh, it's very trying.
Butterfly
Turn
laser.
it towards me, Gillhead.
There's
there's
back.
there.
Back.
Be my guest, Eagle Eye.
Oh, now it's three-dimensional. Before it was just a hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same piece of artwork, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Why did
Fun
it
ha-
change?
It's fun having an animator on.
Right.
Things bother
love
you
it.
so much, and I love it.
I want a commentary for like all these cartoons. from
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I mean, JJ, is that it's just for time and cost effectiveness, or
Well, no, the shot is no different, and in one drawing, it's just a bow tie hole. In the next shot, it's three-dimensional.
yeah,
So why even have the one that's just a hole.
Right.
That's true.
It should
That's
be
true.
three-dimensional anyway.
I'm guessing they were halfway through and realized it, and did not want to do the 5
Well, no, they
previous
wouldn't-
cells.
no, yeah.
Whoa, sorry.
It just that's a strange one. That's
I
a
mean,
weird one.
we've seen some cartoons where they forgot to color in parts, like they forgot to color in
Sure.
somebody's hair.
Yeah.
I mean, like I feel like it's quantity over quality with these. They need
Well,
to
look,
shit them out
in
as
one-
quickly as possible.
in the Fleischer cartoon, the inappropriate Japatours.
Oh yeah.
There's a shot where he gets Lois out of the airplane, and he brings her because it's about to crash into Times Square, and he brings her down and puts her on the ground, and then turns around to fly up, and his S is backwards. So hey, even the Fleischers, you know.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it happens.
yeah.
There's a lot of cells in animation.
Yeah.
Great shot, Speedy boy!
The computer's going out of its electronic mind!
Watch out!
I still don't see how that's a computer.
On a rampage.
That's what they used to look like.
Yeah, they pick up enormous robots.
Am I glad these Amazon bracelets are invulnerable?
Deflect the bolts back at them.
You're thinking out loud again.
Red line, Kid Flash!
Oh, they're
The
using
same
all
art
the
is
sound.
getting so much use.
They're using
Like
all the
when
sound
you're-
effects too.
It's like when your iPhone shuts down because it's getting too hot.
Take off, Speedy!
Whew. Edge of my seat there.
Oh, what a blast! Whoever sent that invasion force from space will think twice before trying it again.
Well, time for me to head home.
Same here.
Hello.
Bye, gang.
What are you doing after this?
What about me?
You're just stuck in this old copter, Twinkle Toes, until we reach solid ground.
Whew, all right.
Made it through another one.
Yeah, that was the longest 6 minutes of all of our lives.
I have to show JJ something just because of I was talking a little bit about his dad. So I collect night shirts of various kinds, the J Ward one as mentioned.
Oh,
but
nice.
I've got this one I can't wear because it's too small, but check it out. So where's the beef night shirt? I think it's meant for like a 7-year-old. So I can't wear it, but I'll always cherish it. So yeah.
Did Wendy's make money off that? Were they selling shirts, and would they get the money from that?
I don't think so. That's kind of like almost like a Calvin and Hobbes, mud flap.
The peeing on the.
It became just a part
Ubiquitous.
of the vernacular, and
Right.
so
Everybody bootlegged one. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
There are some great superhero vehicles in there, and I wanted to show. This came the other week on Instagram. Somebody made this called the Latchkey Gang. This is Alex Bowman, and you can see the vehicle we're in is George's head.
Ah, yes.
Oh
So there's your brain.
It's our dune buggy,
with the
right?
brains.
Yeah.
That is accurate, by the way.
And are you wearing a Sweet Pea shirt there?
It looks like a
no,
Henry.
Thank you. I'm wearing
Oh.
a Henry shirt.
Oh, from the comics, yeah.
Exactly.
This is
who
Zuggy.
I actually despise.
Can you name everybody here? This was Zuggy, they said. Axel said that.
I'm not sure.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. This is from a video we showed on VCR Party of how to decorate types of leaves, I believe.
Okay.
That looks like Not Me from Family Circus.
Oh, I see the nod on there.
Yeah.
And they're in the scrotum mobile. Is that what that is?
It's George's head.
Also known as the Scrotumobile. On OnlyFans, yes.
There's
Old
Rambo.
scrotum
You
head.
got Marty there.
Oh,
And
Nick, you look unhappier than ever.
Yeah,
That's my usual disposition. He got that.
Yeah.
And then we were latchkey kids, some of us. So
Oh,
that's
and Rambo's in there.
yeah. So
I
pretty
like
cool.
that.
Axel
I'm honored
Bowman.
they have the creep. My MS Paint drawing there on the bottom right.
Oh,
of,
is that what
of
that is?
myself. Yeah,
Oh,
for
is that
Frenchie and the
you?
Creep are the pandemic spin-off show.
What that is.
Oh, I didn't know what that was. Okay, yeah, cool,
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
anyway, wanted to show that off while we had the crew here.
amazing.
All right. So we've seen two of the more famous team-ups in comic book history, but there are many more that you don't know about. So we're going to identify some of the unlikely real-life celebrities who gave permission to appear as themselves in comic book team-ups in a new game that I call the Legion of Reality-Bending Cameos. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm listening.
All right. So these are all 100% real. And the important thing is that they got permission from the individual involved. Number one, which film legend appeared in Superman number 62 in 1949? Peter Lorre, Orson Welles, Jimmy Stewart, or Ronald Reagan?
I'd go with Orson Welles.
I'm going Ronald Reagan.
Peter Lorre seems like
I went Peter Lorre.
I'll go Peter Lorre too. He seems like tailor-made for a comic book.
Well, JJ, you're correct. Orson Welles.
Not enough people knew. I mean, they knew Peter Lorre by his face, and he was caricatured plenty of times in cartoons.
Yeah, that's why
Ronald Reagan, he was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No reason to put him in. And Jimmy Stewart, probably there wouldn't be. He's too nice a guy. Orson Welles, from War of the Worlds to everything else,
Right,
he was always
larger than life. Yeah.
Right.
Good call.
Apparently, the publicists believe that it would be good for Orson Welles' next movie, Black Magic, if they referenced it in a Superman comic book. But I don't know. I thought they got the likeness all right for
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And JJ, you'll appreciate this. In our, our founder at the Cartoon Library is Milton Caniff.
Oh,
and we've got fan mail, correspondence, I'll say, from Orson Welles to Milton Caniff, because he was clearly a fan of his. So I think he's a comics reader.
None of you guys understand. Well, Caitlin does, but I bet you guys really don't know how powerful a force Milton Caniff was.
Yeah.
Not just in comics and cartoons, or newspaper comics, but amongst the other cartoonists, he was someone you bowed to. He was the most. I can't think of too many people of his time that were more revered than him.
Yeah, no.
And now most people really don't know him.
They don't.
I've never
but they
heard
know
the name until right now.
You've probably heard me mention him. He's the reason I have a job. He founded the Billy Ireland Cartoon Library. Billy Ireland was his mentor, but but Milton Caniff was our actual founder.
No,
he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, throughout the 40s, that was his time. So all the kids who grew up carried that reverence with them into the 60s. But by the 60s, it just wasn't the same. People were going on to different things. And so you got to really wonder how some of these other cartoonists were able to stay, maybe not current, but at least people knew them, like Chester Gould and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, I feel like, Chester Gould just got really gimmicky. I mean, we could talk forever, but
once you start going to
Milton Caniff, you can at least see like the through line. You can connect the through line from Milton Caniff to like Frank Miller and Sin City stuff, like all that stark black and white noir. And anyway, so like the influence is there, but you're right that no one knows his name anymore.
And
unless they visit us and take a tour with me. So.
But the strip that he would be known for was that
Terry and the Pirates
right.
and Steve Canyon.
My mother's roommate in college was Jeannie Gould.
Wow.
And so here.
Sorry, you guys.
Sorry,
everyone else. This is me and JJ.
I love this.
He did that for my mother.
That's amazing.
Like 1955.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Super cool.
He still looked like Dick Tracy back then too. I don't think he'd gone to the moon yet.
Sure. Yeah.
Here's my mother. Here's my mother as Harpo.
Oh, your family's so cool.
All right.
Next.
Back to the game.
All right, back to the game. All right, here we go.
Number 2.
I love this nerding out, though. I love this nerdiness.
This is what this show's for.
Exactly.
Who of the following appeared in an issue of Daredevil 133 in 1976? Uri Geller, Carl Sagan, Jimmy Carter, or James the Amazing Randy?
Uri Geller.
That's what I'll say too. Although I'd love to have the guy who debunked him in a comic, but go with Uri Geller.
I'm going to say Jimmy Carter just for fun.
I was going to say Jimmy Carter. I'm going to go Carl Sagan.
Well, it was in fact Uri Geller who
1976, he was going full
bending everything.
Full horse, yeah.
Right. Here he is in the comic bending bending a steel rod, which somehow he uses to bend the villain's bending the villain's pipe. But I should mention that James Randi did write in. He was very disappointed. Yes. Very, very disappointed.
I was shocked to find an episode in Daredevil that featured the Israelis.
Yes. The skeptic in him couldn't help.
Yeah, I'd love to see a comic with James Randi in it, because it would mostly be him just sitting on the side saying, "That's not real."
Yeah,
that's his power. All right.
Yeah, the fun ruiner.
He's a real hero.
1978. Which TV cast fought alongside Spider-Man in Marvel Team Up 74? Charlie's Angels, Mork and Mindy, What's Happening, or Saturday Night Live?
Charlie's Angel. 78. 78.
I'm going Mork and Mindy.
I'm going Saturday Night Live.
Be fun to see. I'm hoping it's Mork and Mindy, so I'll go with them.
I think by 78, I'll bet it was Saturday Night Live.
Well, one of the first comic books I ever saw, my brother had purchased, and it was in fact Marvel Team Up 74, starring Spider-Man, the not ready for primetime players.
What?
In which, and look at the depictions from left to
Emily
right.
Latella.
Yeah.
I've got this issue somewhere in our house.
Yeah. So Bill Murray, from left, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Gilda Radner, Belushi, of course,
Garrett
Morris, Jane Curtin, and Lorraine Newman. And so the plot is that John Belushi gets a ring in the mail accidentally. And that's a ring that's wanted by the Silver Samurai. He ends up having to fight the Silver Samurai. Spider-Man fights off the Silver Samurai, but it's a very bizarre. And then James Randi wrote in and said, "This is very implausible."
Lorne Michaels is in it.
Yes.
And there's Stan.
Yeah, Stan the Man Lee, of course, found a way to shoehorn himself into everything. But seeing Garrett Morris as Thor is worth picking up this back
with a white arm.
Yeah, he was sewn up in a costume. All right, number 4. Which comedian appeared in 2 1971 issues of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen? Red Fox, Joan Rivers, Don Rickles, or Bob Newhart?
Don Rickles.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
I agree.
I'll go Red Fox.
I'm going to have David Letterman tell us who it was.
Well, if you haven't seen these, we have 2 comic books. Superman's pal, the new Jimmy Olsen. And can you take a look at our friend on the cover here?
A decade later.
That's Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
I never saw that one. That one I saw.
This one's another Jimmy Olsen comic book.
Never saw it?
Once again featuring Don Rickles.
Yeah.
My daughter uses that as her chemistry book.
How is your daughter?
She's great. She's working in the neighborhood.
So he makes a prostitution joke about his daughter.
He is so funny. And
He's the best.
Just hilarious. But that must have been when Kirby took a break from Marvel.
It was. It has at the top. Kirby says, "Don't ask, just buy it."
I didn't
classic,
see that. That's great.
classic Kirby. The story was that he was only supposed to appear on 2 pages, but Kirby, of course, stretched it out to 2 issues and created a double of Don Rickles named Goody Rickles, who was it made it this whole intergalactic.
Kirby fist on Superman.
Yeah.
Kirby's fourth world of Superman's pal.
The fifth world is all comedians, and they're doubles.
So Rickles is in the DC canon then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Technically.
All right, James Gunn, get on that. We need the Rickles movie.
Okay. Number 5. Which talk show host appeared in The Avengers 239 in 1983? Phil Donahue, Merv Griffin, Dick Cavett, or David Letterman?
Phil Donahue.
David Letterman.
I'm going Letterman too.
I'm going Donahue.
It was David Letterman.
I've got this one too.
Wow.
1983. And they have like a parody of Paul Schaefer. I mean, Frank Miller made a gag of Letterman as David Endocrine in Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight. Yeah.
But this was sanctioned, and actually Letterman fights off the villain with a giant doorknob.
Did Letterman ever talk about this? Because this is probably why they did it, is because they wanted Letterman to talk about it on the show, right? I mean,
well,
that was probably the plan.
This was a weird month where they had this was it's assistant editors month, and I guess they had like a young person who said like, what's cool, and this is 83, so Letterman had just started,
right?
And so I don't know if
what the hell is going on with that cover with the go-go checks and the DC logo.
Yeah. It was all gag. It was an all gag thing for us to talk about 40 years later. Okay, last one. Which talk show host appeared in Count Duckula number 8 in 1989?
Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio Hall, Oprah Winfrey, Geraldo Rivera, or Morton Downey Jr.
Geraldo.
Do you guys know who Morton Downey Jr. is?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yes, I might switch to Morton Downey Jr. actually.
Yeah, 89. It might be a little late for him. I think I'll go with Arsenio Hall. Yeah.
All right. Well, it was
Morton Downey for me.
It was Geraldo, sanctioned Geraldo on a Marvel comic. First, a photo, but you see what the caricature is going to look like up here.
Who wants this?
But
looks like Mario.
Then inside there is somebody throws a chair. It hits him.
Oh, that's right.
Not again.
Can you put up the top of the page again? It almost looked like a Sergio drawing of Geraldo.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, had the
with
little
the mustache. It looked like Sergio doing himself.
It'd be in a Mad margin somewhere.
Yeah. I visited the Mad offices right after I moved to New York in '79, and they promptly, of course, threw my portfolio in the garbage and didn't even look at it, just threw it in the garbage. That, and then the top of the page, comic page. Yeah, it looks more like Sergio than Geraldo.
It does, yeah.
I wish Sergio had a talk show. All right. Usually I do a lesson, but instead I want to as a tribute to the ambiguously gay duo, I thought I'd show sort of a supercut of, I guess they're only double entendres if you're looking for them. I don't think they are.
Police scientist Barry Allen, alias The Flash, and his teen sidekick Wally West, otherwise known as Kid Flash, pick up alarming signals.
Green Lantern! Over here!
Hop aboard.
Yeah, here we go.
That's what you were trying to tell me, yes?
You're getting tough, Dick.
Now to see if Green Lantern needs a hand.
Hold tight, Cairo.
There's a hot tube up ahead.
Robin and I'll stay here and try to keep things under control.
Stand behind me. Wrap your arms around my waist.
It's already begun.
Yes, it's getting hot.
Then make a fist with one of your hands.
Yes.
And press in and upward.
This is where I go to work. I'll show you how, Junior.
Kid Flash alone with that monster?
You're okay, fella. Just relax.
You might have to press and push up more than once.
Don't fight me.
Try it again. It's important to get it right.
You may not have needed me if you took better care of your toys.
That's not the problem. I don't want to hurt the mouse.
These boys don't fool around. It's harder than rock. But you won't be for long.
Now I can release my friends.
You know better than to come here. There it comes, Adam.
Let go now.
Great balls of fire!
Fire another blast. Big blasts coming up.
It's shrinking to its normal size.
We're just glad no one got hurt.
Looks as if they've had it, Green Lantern.
So have I. Let's go down.
These round-the-world tours can be tiring.
We're just happy to see you together again.
Let's go home, Cairo.
You're cooking all the meals for a whole week, my boy.
All right. So
I could watch that all day long.
Well done.
Yes,
well
bravo.
Done.
I didn't
Excellent
notice
edit.
anything in that, but
Yeah,
maybe some people
I don't really
will.
get it.
Those Batman shots are a typical example of like how Toth stuff was destroyed. They tried to stick to the model sheet, and when it moves, it's like moving a flat piece of paper. It's just oh god, so bad.
Hey, I wanted to ask you just real quick, like, what was it like in were you in the writers' rooms, or like what was the process of like Harvey Birdman, ambiguously gay duo? Were you part of the process of the writing, or did they just hand you a script, and you took over from there? How did it work?
When it came to Saturday Night Live, especially the first season, they had used the thing we did for Dana Carvey, the first episode, as the first one to air on Saturday Night Live, while we proceeded to work on the first cartoon that was done exclusively for Saturday Night Live. And there was no time for us to collaborate with the writing. On top of that, frankly, Robert doesn't need a collaborator in us. He's got his friends and his team at SNL, and if we contributed anything that could be considered part of the writing, it was when we would storyboard the stuff, because we would get the script, make sure it was approved. We'd immediately start doing models and get those approved while kind of roughing in a storyboard in order to get that approved. And we couldn't tighten up the storyboard until we received the soundtrack to know how things were moving and how things time-wise. So we'd get a 35 mag track, which is a separate element that we would use, and we would read the track. All this is happening in the course of maybe 3 days, 4 days.
Oh, wow.
And
three long days? Like, is this like a 16-hour day?
You could tell when there's a guy who worked in the studio, Sean Luttrell, when he put on his wool stocking cap, you knew we were all in trouble.
And Smigel, like, pretty difficult to have a lot of feedback, or how involved was he in?
The way Saturday Night Live works is the writers and the people whose idea it is, they are automatically the producers, whether it's a sketch, whether it's a commercial parody. They had never done animation before. I'll go to the first time I worked with Robert, which I thought was the very last time I'd ever worked with Robert. We did a commercial parody called Cluckin' Chicken.
Adam Sandler, I remember that one.
Adam Sandler was the voice. It was and Phil Hartman. It was supposed to be the heavyset guy from Wisconsin.
Chris Farley.
It's supposed to be Chris Farley, but it turned out to be Phil Hartman. But anyway, so it's about a fast food chicken restaurant, and the chicken gets its head cut off, and it's not only animated, but it's combined with live action. So, and this is also when we're still working with cell paint that has to be painted and has to dry and all this other stuff. So we went through did the cartoon, everything was approved, and then Robert decided he wanted to change the eyes, and then it just kept getting more and more difficult, and I felt terrible at the end of the thing, even though the cartoon the film was terrific. I had never said anything to another human being like I said to Robert. I just felt terrible. So fast forward a couple months, and we get a call from NBC that they're going to be doing this new, that Conan O'Brien is going to be replacing David Letterman because he's going over to CBS, and they want to do an opening sequence. And would I like to talk about it? I go over to NBC, and Conan's there, and Jeff Ross, not the comedian, but his producer was there. And then Robert walks in the room. And I'm, in my narcissistic manner, I'm going, this is a setup. But he said, yeah, we want to do a title. It's just, kind of simply drawn. And I'm not even listening to him, and he's talking. I can't. I said, do you really want to do this again? I said horrible things to you. And he gave me this look, and he was like, well, everyone says that to me.
Another day
From
at the
then
office.
on, it was great. It was great. So anyway, there was no time. The stuff that was going on at 30 Rock was going on at 30 Rock. What stuff was going on White Plains was going on White Plains. And then we do these, crazy late night shoots and so forth. After what we went through with the Ambiguously Gay Duo, the first one being done with cell and film, I realized there's just no way we can do this on traditionally. And it was at a time when you were just starting to get into digital ink and paint and compositing. And with Harvey Birdman, we only did the pilot. And we're not a long form studio. We're not good at that kind of stuff because it becomes kind of like tool and die manufacturing as opposed to commercials where everything's different and it's very exciting and so forth. But Michael O'Lean and Eric Richter were the guys who came up with the idea for Harvey Birdman. And Harvey Birdman, the whole series was basically 13 episodes were bought within Cartoon Network based on Eric singing the title song.
Wow.
And they had just gotten the Hanna-Barbera library, and they knew they could make fun of all the characters that they now owned.
Right.
I love that
Brilliant
era.
concept.
I love that era. Yeah.
So yeah, that I did. We were all collaborating on the writing and the conceiving and the whole bit, but there was just no. We thought maybe at the beginning, yeah, maybe we could do a series, but by the middle of the series, it was like, no, we need to run away again, like we did from Beavis. The same sort of thing. It was just like, ugh. So, but it was so exciting, especially with Robert stuff. We were doing stuff that we couldn't do as independent animators or producers because we'd get sued.
Right.
And we had this lovely, in the middle of the show with opening credits and an end card title for the studio, and all the people who worked on it got their names. And it also really helped a mainstream perception of animation to change, and we got a lot of calls that were funny. I'd get somebody on the telephone saying, "Is this JJ Sedelmaier?" Yeah, this is JJ Sedelmaier. Great. I'm here in an advertising agency, and would you ever consider doing a commercial? And it's like, if you go into your video library, you'll probably find like 12 of our reels. They thought that we only did Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
And so it kind of scared me a little bit because we were getting known for doing this hilarious stuff, high profile stuff.
I see. But you didn't want to be like pigeonholed for that.
But I didn't want to be known for they do that funny, shitty stuff.
Yeah. Got it.
You're like, we want to do some good stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, we only did the first three seasons of SNL, and then we consciously kind of backed off because I wanted to promote the studio doing other things. It didn't matter because for the rest of the run, everyone thought we were still doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like say to Robert, make sure they're still funny because people think we're doing it.
What's some of the advertising that you did you do some advertising then, animation wise? Like we are commercial aficionados on this show.
Yeah.
And
you should hit the reel. A few years ago we did the He-Man for Geico. We did a Speed Racer Volkswagen. We've done like over 700 commercials since we opened 30 years ago.
Wow. All right. So we've probably seen a lot of your stuff then. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't arrange to have our credit card at the end and, come up and say,
right. Yeah, but it's a commercial here.
There you go.
Yeah, let's watch it.
Billy West did all of the male voices. We got Corrine Orr to do her voice as Trixie, but Billy West just nailed it.
Oh no! The Mach 5 has been sabotaged. Speed, if you don't win, we could lose everything.
Here, Speed.
Huh? The Volkswagen GTI.
Faster, Speed!
Look out! This GTI is amazing, and it's got room for 4.
Make that 6!
On the road of life, there are passengers, and there are drivers.
That's a hell of a client.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that there during the Super Bowl. Going back to lip sync, it was very funny because when I would send all of our work out to be transferred to just 3/4 inch so we could get approvals from the agency, I got a call after sending the Speed Racer spot out, and the editor was saying, "Look, JJ, I've done your stuff for years. I can't sync this up." I said, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." There's no way you can sync this up.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Yeah.
So,
we
at least there's an
purposely fucked it
attempt,
up.
though. They do attempt to make a sync on the mouth.
Yeah,
and
but it's just
the
movement,
pause and
it's
the
just,
yeah.
But that was a lot of fun to do, and we even copied the title card from the original cartoon with the Japanese lettering. We actually gave ourselves. There's a national spot. We did get credit, but it was written in Japanese. So,
little Easter egg.
Thanks, Leggy.
JJ, thank you again for coming on.
My
and
pleasure.
Please come back, and happy Shaturday to everybody.
Happy
Shaturday.
Happy Shaturday.